Well, hello. This is Felicia, creator of poweredlifecoaching.com. I am always excited to come to you to share with you some of the most valuable topics that pertains to our health and well-being. And today we have a very important thing to discuss about, and it involves one of our most precious and valuable treasures, which is our children. As many of you know, we are still in the National Nutrition Month, and what a better time to discuss the health of our kids than now. You see, the moment you understand that food represents much more than a bunch of vitamins and minerals, it changes everything. You see, in addition to nourishment, at times it's okay if eating is for fun. Sometimes you need to eat for comfort. Other times too, we eat for celebration. Now, tell me, what event did you attend that you didn't see any food? And how many of them were really healthy, but you ate them anyway, even though you knew better? So how much more can we give pressure on our kids, expecting them to do the otherwise, when we know that even we ourselves as adults and parents, we don't always obey the rules? As parents, we all know the rules we've been given and yelling loud in the ears of our kids. Hey, stop eating that ice cream. Stop drinking that soda. Avoid that junk food. Finish your veggies or no dessert. Does that sound familiar to you? Trust me, they heard and have been hearing you 1,000 times. But tell me, how many of those rules have actually worked? Even with us adults, how many times do we follow these rules ourselves? And who said, anyway, that healthy eating has to be by the book? And this is the journey I believe that we need to embark our kids on, showing them how to develop a healthy relationship with the food they eat so they can start cultivating those habits in their food choices. Because trust me, like it or not, healthy foods won't come first as their choice of a meal as they go in the world. So why don't you start off with the basic training they need on how to eat right? As the saying goes, charity begins at home, right? Therefore, this webinar has been put together to do just that, to show you how to help your kids develop a healthy relationship with food, which will affect their food choices and eating habits and behaviors as they develop and grow into adulthood. Now, mind you, this doesn't really just apply to kids alone. It also applies to teenagers and young adults, because no matter what stage they are in their aging process, as a parent, it is still your primary responsibility to help them grow and have a healthy balance in their food choices. And especially, it is quite easier when they are kids. But as parents, many of the times we worry too much about what and how much our kids eat. And that's okay. But you need to get creative and have the right knowledge so you can implement a healthy eating culture at home for your children. Still feel that you've exhausted your repertoire of taste-budding tempting tricks, or fretting over every veggie that gets pushed to the side of the plate? Then, my friend, relax, because today I'm going to show you how easy and also other creative and effective ways to encourage your kids to not only crave and enjoy healthy food, but also make healthy food choices wherever they go, without you battling with them during dinner time or lunch or breakfast time. And even the most picky eaters will start giving in and loving you for that. So stick around with me for just a few more minutes, and I promise you, it's really gonna get that good. All right, so we start off with one of the most important points, which is be a role model. Now, that's a biggie. You see, when it comes to kids eating healthy, there is no better examples than the parents they live with. One of my clients, for example, started drinking green smoothies at home and giving her kids some to taste. It turned out that when she stopped making them at home, one of her boys approached her one afternoon and said, "Mom, no smoothies today?" She was so shocked because she didn't know that her actions were actually affecting her kids until that day. And as parents, we don't realize the impact of our actions on our kids because they look to us. And it's imperative that we demonstrate the right qualities in our actions. So it's very important that if you are going to force your kids to eat healthy food, they need to see you eating healthy foods. A recent study found out that 2 and 3-year-old children's food preferences are significantly related to the food that they see their moms like, disliked, and never tasted. So that's my point right there. The more excitement and enjoyment you express about fruits and veggies and all the healthy foods around your kids, the more likely your child or children would want to taste them too. So ask yourself today, what kind of example am I setting in front of my kids? If you are trying to force your kids to eat healthy and you are not eating healthy, then what kind of message are you sending to them? So it's important that we don't just talk the talk if we are not willing to walk the walk. Practice what you preach. The next point, again, is to start early. See, there is a saying that it is difficult to teach an old dog a new trick because it is always difficult. But when they are in their formative age, it's always the best time to instill new habits in kids. When you expose your child to healthy fruits and veggies at a young age, their food preferences become more solid as they grow older. And it goes a long way in their food choices as they grow older. So do not wait till they are adults or teenagers or young adults to start implementing some of these things. Start early as much as you can. I know it's not easy, but just start. Just start having that conversation at the table. Let's talk about food and how it relates to our health. How do you feel when you eat the right kind of food? Let's talk about it. So don't wait till they grow up. Just start at that age, their formative stage. Another important point that I'm going to make now is that make healthy foods available and accessible at home. There is an old saying that when you keep healthy foods in your fridge, you will end up eating healthy foods. You must realize that when it comes to children's direct eating habits and patterns, parents play about 80% role on them because as food providers in the house, we are basically responsible for their upkeep. And that includes the food they eat. And if you keep buying junk foods and bringing them to the house, guess what? That's what they will continue to munch on. But if you start keeping healthy snacks like fruits and veggies around and you make it accessible, in other words, keep it at a place where they can reach. You're not hiding it on top of the cabinet. It's at their level. They're able to easily reach out and grab that fruit, that banana, that apple, that peach, that mango. Guess what? You are telling them this is the food that I need you eating. You know what I mean? And so that is the beginning stage. If you want to see your kids eat healthy, make it available to them. So watch your pantry because they play a vital role in your kids' food choices. If you don't like what your pantry is providing, then probably it's time that you start reconsidering what you bring at home so you can help your kids make that healthier choices that you prefer. Now, I need you to look carefully at this picture right here. You see, the little girl is just grabbing a cookie. Now imagine that it's not this cookie, but rather like a granola or an apple or some kind of a healthy healthy snack, how would that make you feel? She thinks she's just grabbing a cookie and getting away with it. But imagine buying the right kind of cookies and having it available on your countertops. That is a great attraction, right? So the next time you end up going about buying chocolate chip cookies and all the candies, maybe you have to reconsider a healthier choice and alternatives that will nourish their bodies, that will be so drawn to them that they will be able to access it easily and also use it and eat and be healthier. Another important point to note today is to not be a food police. And I repeat, please do not be a food police and restrict certain food from your kids. Okay? Because we have all been there and done that as adults. When our parents were forcing us to do certain things that we hated as kids. Well, guess what? Our kids are no different either. Forcing kids to eat foods they hate is a recipe for rebellion, resentment, and frustration. And research shows that not allowing children to eat certain foods only raises their desirability for that food. So please help your children learn that healthy foods like fruits and veggies are all the time food that they can eat anytime. And then maybe you can suggest that foods like candy and desserts and ice cream and all that are like sometimes food that they can eat once in a while. You get what I'm saying? Also, make sure to continue to stock your pantry and your refrigerator with a variety of tasty, wholesome options. And make sure you ditch the junk from your house. That way, every dietary choice your child makes in your home will be a good one as long as you are consistent with this. They will eventually get the message and will be forced to start experimenting with the healthier food options. In other words, don't give them room to make bad food choices when you are the one at fault. And then at the end of the day, you end up policing them around. Once they are out of your nest and they go out in the real world, you don't have control. But when they are at home, you are responsible for what you provide in your house. So make sure that you are providing choices. You are making their choices easier by making healthier options available in the house. Okay? It is also important to know that sometimes too, it's okay to say yes to junk food or use it as a reward for a good behavior. You see, as parents, sometimes we feel like we failed when our kids break out not so virtuous snacks. But let's face it, chocolate is yummy whether we like it or not. It tastes great. And chips make a great side to a sandwich, right? We all like chips once in a while, and I don't know about any single parent who eats perfectly all the time either. So you can't expect your kids to always go by the books and always obey the rules. Sometimes forbidding certain foods just make them more even attractive, rather than, as I've already mentioned, offer healthy choices regularly. But don't beat yourself up about the bad and the ugly once in a while. Yes, you said it's okay to sometimes take them out to McDonald's or any of the fast food restaurants and allow them to eat. Sometimes just give them a break, because having less healthy food occasionally keeps them from becoming forbidden and therefore even more appealing. So to ease your conscience, you can offer all the candy, soda, and cookies, sometimes food, and generally buy healthier cereals like Cheerios and Raisin Brands and all the yogurt and granolas and all the healthy stuff at home. And let your kids have those cereals when they visit their grandparents and eat all the junk that they want to eat when they go out on a vacation, for example, or once in a while when you guys are out. And then at home, you make sure you provide a healthier choice and then treat them to fast foods as in Burger King, McDonald's, and whatsoever. Once in a while, they don't hurt. Once in a while, allow them to be kids and allow them to eat junk food, so they feel like they belong. Okay, so they don't feel restricted. All right. Also, plan your meals ahead of time because guess what? It puts you in charge. If thinking about a weekly menu seems to be too stressful, why don't you start off with 2 or 3 days at a time? For instance, you can make your mornings count. You see, because most families, for example, don't eat enough fiber on a daily basis. And we all know that breakfast is one of the most important food you can eat in a day. And so if you know that your family do not eat enough fiber on a daily basis, and breakfast is an easy place to sneak in, look for high fiber cereals for a quick fix. Or do what I like to do sometimes, make up batches of whole grain pancakes and waffle batter that will last you all week long. Also, consider a very healthy good dinner. That doesn't have to be too fancy, but it should be balanced. You can start off with like a whole grain bread, rice, or pasta. It could also have a fruit or a veggie on the side, and a protein source like lean meat, cheese, or beans, whatever is convenient for you and that suits your budget. But don't go all too fancy if it's not really your area, okay? Start very simple, but just plan. Make a schedule, plan ahead. Don't wait till last minute, because when you do last minute food choices, that is when you end up eating junk, because you will feel frustrated or desperate, and you don't end up thinking right. But when you take time to plan your meals, you are able to now decide and take charge and be in control on what your family decide. So it's really important that you make time. I know it can be stressful when we want to plan our meals, but it's worth it. It's like having a budget. You know what I mean? It just allows you to be in charge of what happens to the meal. What is everybody eating? It's like you're putting in the extra effort to make sure that your family eats healthy. All right? It's a good investment. I know we may not like it, but it's worth it all. Now, another secret that I would like to share with you all is to entice your kids with veggies and fruits and all the healthy food that you long to see them eat. How do you do that, you may ask? Simple. By creating an atmosphere in your house that stimulates their desire to know more about the food they eat. That is so simple. Let me share with you some few tricks I've discovered along the way, okay? One of the things you can do easily is to add grains to a fruit smoothie for a nutrition boost. Let's just say you are making like strawberry smoothies. You can just sneak in just 1 cup of spinach, and then you blend it in and you let the kids enjoy it. How about that? Or also, instead of using regular white potatoes for your mashed potatoes, why don't you try considering using cauliflower for your mashed potatoes? And also adding some small amount of some new veggies to one of your kids' food that they loved already. Or like using almond butter on a celery sticks and red bell pepper. Another secret or strategy you can do is to add a little vanilla cinnamon or raw cacao powder. That will go a long way as you blend it with your food mix, so they don't even taste anything healthy. It's all about sneaking in the food when they're not looking around. Sneak it in, blend it in. But whatever you have to do, make sure that you entice them with the food, okay? The next point is to prepare foods in healthy ways. We must realize that small modification in the way we prepare our foods and meals and also our snacks can make a big difference in improving our children's diet. So make some healthier, food choices, and as much as you can, also prepare the food in more healthier ways. Bake instead of frying. Choose food with whole grains and whole wheat instead of refined grains and sugars. And give your child water or low-fat or skim milk instead of just regular juice or soda or food that has high concentration of sugar in it, okay? So those are some of the things you can do. You need to take charge by preparing healthier meals. Try your best. I know it's not always going to be easy, but do the best you can. Leftover chicken and rice for breakfast? Pancakes for dinner? Why not? If it was a healthy, balanced meal last night, it's still a healthy, balanced meal this morning. We are the ones who teach our kids the notion that food is appropriate or inappropriate for certain times. But it's okay to sometimes get creative and switch things around. You can have brinner. In other words, you can have breakfast for dinner. All right? We call that brinner. Breakfast for dinner, or vice versa. Eat dinner for lunch. Eat lunch for dinner. Eat breakfast for, switch things around and get creative. If you don't have time to now plan, or you didn't go ahead with your meal planning and last night's food was real good, pack it up and give it to them to take it to school, for example, for lunch. Break the rules sometimes and get creative, as long as you know that it's helping your kids eat healthy. So if your kids' favorite dinner time fare is pizza, make mini pizzas for breakfast, for example. Just fill the pocket with tomato sauce, ham, pineapple, and cheese and heat them up. Or make some fruity pizzas with your favorite fruits that they will love, with light cream cheese. And then you slice bananas, berries, and grapes, and then they go. Kebabs too is another biggie. Most families love kebabs. Traditionally, it's really served at dinner times, but they can have it for a healthier option in the day as a healthy snack. You can make fruit kebabs, you can make chicken kebabs, all kinds of kebabs can be made. You don't have to eat it for dinner. You can eat it for lunch. They can have it for breakfast. Whatever you do, if you're going to make kebabs, I would suggest for kids, use a popsicle stick instead of a pointy stick because of safety reasons. But get creative, break the rules, set up your own rules that will generate the culture for healthy eating in the house and around. So that the more their kids see more healthy foods and they become more familiar with this kind of fruits and veggies and all the healthy things, when they go out there, it becomes more easier to choose and make those healthier choices because they are so familiar with it at home. Another creative thing you can do is to also make dessert part of the meal. I know what you're thinking. You may be wondering, but wouldn't they eat the dessert first? Well, yeah, but eventually it will begin to wear off, So my suggestion is to offer one small portion of the dessert so your child or children will be hungry and still eat dinner. Don't give them too much, okay? Just give them a little to entice them and use that to motivate them to eat the main dinner, and then you give them the remaining. That way, dessert just becomes part of the meal for kids instead of a reward for polishing off their potatoes, you know what I mean? And you will be surprised when your child suddenly takes a bite of a dessert along with a bite of something else. So instead of them just eating all the dessert and leaving out the main food, they have something to look forward to once the main dish is over. So try it out. For example, fresh fruit is an obvious first choice, but try some very creative dessert like apple crisp, apple pie, rice pudding, homemade oatmeal cookies, frozen yogurt, or even banana bread. Those are all healthier choices or options you can try. Hope you're enjoying this so far. I'm telling you, I have so much to share. I don't think that our time will permit me to share everything, but I'm still going to go ahead and share it with you. So this brings me to my most important point that I would like to make, that I need you to know this. Okay, it was J.J. Virgin that once said that exposure equals preference. Exposure equals preference. What does that mean? Basically, what it means is that when people are exposed to new things, they begin to exercise more preferences for certain things. And this brings me to my next point, which is to introduce new dishes while continuing to serve one or two familiar foods that they are already familiar with. This is really important, especially with kids, because when kids are new to certain new food they are not familiar with, they become very phobic to the food basically by nature. And the whole idea and goal is to quickly eliminate the worst foods your kids currently eat and follow that with less than ideal options. So you want to make sure that whilst you are introducing new dishes, you are trying to change their taste buds, you are also including something that they already are familiar with. Because some kids will give you a very tough time when you are trying to completely change their dietary, food, their diet, pretty much. They will not allow it. So do it softly, slowly, and sneak in sometimes make healthier alternatives. But make sure that when you are introducing new foods, you blend it in, with an old food that they are very familiar with. Or reward them with ice cream or some kind of sweet to make up for the new that she just introduced. Now, I love this point that I'm about to make, which pretty much is about grazing. A lot of you don't really know what grazing is, but grazing is simply the art of eating small sizes of food in place of a full-size meal or snack during the course of the day. For instance, when you go to restaurants and you start off with appetizers and drinks before the main meal, that's grazing, pretty much. And most parents overestimate the size of their kid's stomach, especially when they reach their teenage years. They don't really follow the 3 main course, meal that we always think they do, because they eat so much and we wonder where all the food go in their stomach. So having that in mind, it's important that you plan small meals and snacks that will spread over the day than actually just going with the typical traditional 3 square meals. You know what I mean? So grazing gives you that choice to be able to really give out a healthier, extra good for you food for your kids. This is the great advantage that grazing gives you over main course meals, because offering smaller meals and 2 or 3 snacks in between instead of one big meal gives you that opportunity for you to make up for probably what they ate at school lunch, which may not probably be the most healthier food choice. And so it's a good thing. It's a great exercise. If you haven't done it before, I would suggest you start off slow and see how it goes, and then you can add on to it. Start simple. Start with maybe fruit grazing. Maybe give them maybe 1 banana and mix it with grapes in another time. Mix it up, see how it turns out, and then make the necessary adjustment when needed. Okay? I would suggest that choose a variety of healthy kids-friendly snacks. Make it available at home and let them choose for themselves. And I think that will be fun. Okay? Oh, this point is also very good. Make food fun. And I repeat, make food fun. You see, for children, everything has to do with fun. It has to be fun and exciting. That's all they think about. So imagine making smiley face pancakes, or giving food silly names such as baby trees for or for broccoli or dinosaur food, or even using cookie cutters to turn toast into hearts and stars. Guess what? You are trying to make them get enticed to the food. And as long as they can play, they can see something fun in it, they are going to hang around, because that is the image that will be stuck in their heads. So you see the example in the slides. You can try your own and get creative, but make it fun. Fun is a synonymous word with kids, okay? Anything fun attracts them. So make their food very fun. And one way to make food fun is to allow them to play with the food. Think about it. When meal times are more of a playground than a battleground, guess what? It allows them to explore and get to enjoy the time that they get to eat the food, because to them it's an enjoyable game. And you can get this going, get this party started by simply having fun with food names, as already mentioned to you, like dinosaur food. You can actually give more ideas like super vision carrots, broccoli trees. You know what I mean? See what I'm going with that? That can be a good example. And also, get them going. Let them get creative with the food. Maybe you can give like a fun game such as this is good for my brain, this is bad for my brain. So if you want to educate them certain things about maybe the brain and the food you're eating has to deal with brains or not, use that opportunity to talk about that particular food and its benefit, you know. And so there are so many creative ways you can go about with this. You can decide to have like a game whereby you have good food versus bad food, where they get to have a thumbs up for good food such as maybe fruits and veggies, and maybe bad food such as soda and food that is high in sugar. And then they get to grade it, okay? And then if they pass the test, they get to be rewarded. And if they fail, they get to, eat one healthy food as a, get something creative going. I hope you get what I'm saying, right? Yes. So just let them, as long as they can associate games with food, you are all set. Because with kids, it gotta be fun, else you are gonna lose them. Another way to make food fun is to cook with them or allow them to cook by themselves. Because guess what? Kids love to show off their work. They are so proud when they are able to accomplish something. So why don't you give them this opportunity to create their own meal? If kids can make it, guess what? They are more likely to eat it. And they are more likely to let everybody know that they make that food. So allow them, give them the chance to plan and even make a meal a week. Once every week is not a bad idea. It might be a little more work at first, but it will pay off eventually. So here is my recommendation if you intend to do that. Build it yourself meals such as like salad, bars, sandwiches, and pizzas are great options to start. They just get the pizza dough, they put in the the veggies and all kind of ingredients, or you kind of let them make healthy pepperonis. You put it on the pizza dough and sprinkle the cheese on it. And boom, make sure you do not allow them to put it in the oven themselves because it might not be safe, especially when they are very young. All right? But just give them the chance. Let them play with the food. Cook with them. Allow them to join you in the kitchen. It allows the conversation about you to get started, and use that time to talk to them, educate them about how the food will help them be stronger, will help them stay healthier, will let them maybe have more energy to play, because kids love to play. So use that opportunity as an educational tool to empower your kids. Also, make sure that when you take them to the store, allow them to pick their own snacks, but make sure you approve it before you get out of the store. If they are choosing snack and it's not in the health zone, you want to check that out. But give them the room. As you have already introduced them to a couple of healthier food options, now give them room in the parameter of healthy choices, so they get to choose their own snack, and then you can approve it if it's really not that healthy for them. But let them exercise that right. Let them feel like they are in charge. Empower them. See, that's the point. Empower them. Let them believe that they can make sound judgment, even though sometimes they are not. But give them the room, let them exercise it. You will be amazed how intelligent and smart your kids are than you even expected. Also realize that kids are not perfect. As you start on this journey, you're going to have a good times where you're going to pass the test. They will obey your rules. And there are times they will not go by the book. And that is also okay. Allow them to be themselves. In other words, let them be kids. They're going to make some dietary mistakes, and it's okay. Let them make the mistakes so they can learn. Use that time as a learning opportunity to teach them the right things. They will make a whole lot of messes, and that's also expected anyway. So give them the room. Let them make their mistakes. Let them learn from it. It's a journey. Remember, they are learning. So give them the room to make mistakes. Since you do not want to be a food police, avoid scolding your kids about poor dietary choices every time. Instead, look for these opportunities to talk to them, to empower them to make right choices. For example, you might point out that that birthday cake that they ate at their friend's party could be the cause of their stomach ache or nausea, that kind of thing. So when something goes wrong, point out to that choice they made about the food that is causing that. That gives them the room to listen. But please do not scold them and make them feel horrible just because they made a mistake. We all make mistakes. See, you must realize and understand this important note that I'm about to make, and that is one of the best ways to help your kids form a healthy relationship with food is by teaching them how to connect what they eat with how they feel. So instead of them always being yelled at, instead of you always scolding them for making poor decisions about their diets, why don't you use that time to tell them how they feel? For example, if your kids love to play, which I know every child loves to play, use that opportunity to tell them that, listen, when you eat apple or you eat bananas or whatever fruit it is, it gives you energy so that you can play with your friends. So you don't get tired and you're always hanging in the room and sleeping, but it gives you the chance to have more energy to play. You know what I mean? Let them feel some kind of connection with the food by telling them how the food they eat makes them feel. Okay? That is really important. Let them connect with how they feel with the food they eat. That's one of the easiest ways to teach your kids and allow them to learn the dynamics of food and how it impacts our lives. I know it's a big journey. It's not going to be a one-day wonder, but the whole idea of this webinar is to get the culture started. Is to get you to get going with this journey as you impart in your kids' life the importance of healthy eating and nutrition in their well-being in the long run. And those decisions affect and impact their dietary choices as they grow older and become responsible adults in the future. And as parents, it is your primary responsibility to impact that in your kids' life, even as they develop and grow. So do not get discouraged when you start off and you don't see instant result right away. Like any good habit, it takes time for them to adjust to this new way of living and this new way of eating as well. You need to be patient and realize that they are kids, and getting kids to eat healthy should not make you break or sweat. Nutritional healthy meals don't always have to be elaborate. As I already mentioned, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, for example, and a glass of milk can make a super healthy food, not to mention a refreshing change from meat and potatoes. So I would say just do the best you can. Just add these few tips that I shared with you today and allow kids to be kids. You know what I mean? Kids will eat healthy, delicious food if you continue to offer it. As long as you make it available, they will eventually begin to learn to adjust. And they'll also learn to eat on their own terms as well. So, which ultimately is the key to healthy eating in the long run that we want to talk about. So, as you are enforcing these new rules and you're making this new healthy adjustment, remember they are also individuals. They may not like everything, and it's okay. We don't like every fruit. We don't like every veggie, but doesn't mean we don't eat some. We eat some. So let them make healthier food choices and adjust in their own terms and their biological clock and whatever way that they will decide to go. But give them the room to make those choices. Let them make those choices. But your job is to make the resources available. If you're going to talk about bad food, then make sure you provide alternatives. That way, they have more options. You know what I mean? Just don't talk about the bad if you're not providing alternatives. So it's important that you take all this into considerations and do not give up, okay? They will get it. Sometimes it takes a while, even as adults, It's not easy to break away from a bad habit, and we still struggle. We fall sometimes, but we keep going and we keep going. And it applies to every area of your kid's life. I know as you discipline them in some areas, they are still believing they will change. But it's a process. It's not going to be a one-day thing. But just get it started. A journey of 1,000 miles always begins with one step. And changing the dietary lifestyle of your kids is not going to be a one-day wonder either. So you need to give that room for growth. Give that room for those mistakes, and give that room for that change that you want to see. Well, this brings us to the conclusion of our webinar for today. And I hope I was able to share with you a few secrets and tricks that will allow you to start developing a healthy eating culture in your home for your kids to learn how to relate well with food so they can like and also develop the appetite for the right kind of food that we desire them to eat, because we know that if they eat healthy, it's going to affect their health in the long run. And I hope that the few strategies that I shared is going to help you get started. Remember, these are only suggestions. They are not the ultimate rules. Your job is to just take what will work for you and adapt it and make it your own. There are so many ideas, but I just felt these few ones will help you get started, and then you build upon it. Okay, there are no absolute rules. You set the rules, you set the pace. And if you know that as you are listening, you need further assistance, do not hesitate to get in touch with me. This is why I'm here. My job is to be your biggest cheerleader as you thrive in life. Okay, my job is to help you become the healthiest version of yourself so you can fulfill your purpose in life. And that is why I'm here to do that. I am a certified health coach. I'm also a life coach and a business coach, and I do all three. So if you know that you need help maybe discovering your purpose and you need help to find it out, and you also need to live healthy, get in touch with me. If you also need help with your business, to market your business online, you need an online presence, you don't know what to do to market yourself online, I'm the girl for you. So just inbox me at info@poweredlifecoaching.com, or you can visit my website at www.poweredlifecoaching.com and check me out. Or you can also find us out on social media. We are on Facebook as The Powered Life. We have a fan page there. We are also on Instagram with the same name. I would like you to like us on Facebook and also follow us on Instagram. You can also inbox me personally as Felicia Asmanning. I am on Facebook, so you can check me out, inbox me, and I will be more than happy to assist you further if you have any questions or inquiries regarding any of my services. If you need help, you don't know what to do, maybe with your kids, how to plan healthy meals, you are struggling, I'm the lady for you. Also, I'm available for keynote speaking engagements, seminars, workshops and webinars as well. If you want me to come to your organization or your ministry, I'm available for that. Or if you have a business and you would like me to come and do corporate wellness workshops as well, I'm also there. I do corporate wellness programs as well. I do lunch and learn programs and so much more. So get in touch with me, whatever your health issue is, and I will be more than happy to offer the resources that I also have available to allow you to live your best life now. There is a saying that a year from today, you would wish you had started today. So wherever you are with your health journey, it starts with just a decision and you deciding to start it off. So get in touch with me and let me help you, cheer you on as you embark on your journey to transformation and newness in your life, in your health, and in your business. Don't forget, www.poweredlifecoaching.com. Once again, this is Felicia Asmanning, and thanks for granting me audience today.